Don't try to sneak into your room like that. I know what you've got behind your back. Records. More new records.
This is Michael Johnson with The Tracking Angle, and today we're going to be doing an unboxing. This is the new Deutsche Grammophon Mahler Complete Symphonies box set, conducted by Leonard Bernstein, released by Deutsche Grammophon, a limited edition of 2600. So, as we get this open here, this is the second complete Mahler symphony cycle that Leonard Bernstein recorded in his lifetime. The first was, of course, with the New York Philharmonic, his orchestra. And the second he did towards the end of his life for Deutsche Grammophon in the 80s with the three orchestras that Gustav Mahler was most associated with in his life. That is the Vienna Philharmonic, the New York Philharmonic, and the Royal Concertgebouw Orchestra of Amsterdam. This cycle was not completed by Bernstein in his lifetime. The Eighth Symphony he never got to record. But all the other symphonies he were released as individual releases. Later CD box sets would compile them together, but they were never released as a single box set. And we have 16 LPs, symphonies 1 through 9, with some of the unfinished 10th Symphony here. Unfortunately, no Das Lied von der Erde. Bernstein, I don't believe, recorded that for Deutsche Grammophon. He did record that for Decca earlier on. So, we have the exterior slipcase here with all the individual records on the back, limited edition of 2600. I should note the artwork on this cycle, on this set, was all done by the Art Deco French artist Erta. And I've always been captivated by the artwork they chose for this cycle. Really fascinating stuff. Okay, let's take a look at what we got in here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 individual LP jackets in here. One for each of the symphonies, with Symphony 9 and Symphony 10 together in one double LP set. This looks like a booklet. Oh, and here we have some of the recording notes, it looks like. Facsimiles of the recording notes from Polydor International. So, it looks like Rainer Maillard did the remixing and remastering on this, with the vinyl mastering by Sidney Meyer. So here are the recording notes from Symphony No. 1, which was done by the Concertgebouw in Amsterdam. This took place on October 1988, it looks like. These are really cool. Unlike the previous, Columbia Mahler Symphony cycle that Bernstein recorded, these were recorded from live performances. They would record, much like most modern classical recordings are done today, they will record a number of live performances and use the best takes from that, and then do some individual patchwork with the musicians if there are problems. Here we have Symphony No. 2 with the New York Philharmonic. I think the real gems of Bernstein's Deutsche Grammophon cycle are definitely Symphony No. 2 with the New York Phil and Symphony No. 5. Just some of the best Mahler that's out there. I'm not going to go through all of these. I will point out on Symphony No. 4, the Symphony No. 4 in this set is somewhat controversial because instead of using a female soprano as the soloist in the Fourth Symphony, Bernstein, like a lot of his works, chooses to opt for a boy soprano. It was kind of an experiment, and I don't know if critics necessarily thought it was a successful experiment, but it does make this set stand out. Here in this sheet right here, the last sheet in this folder, we have kind of the good stuff, which explains what exactly were the sources for these remasterings, because these recordings were all done, recorded digitally. However, it's very early digitals, and it says here exactly for each recording, what they have, the original source, analog or digital, the original recording technology, and the source for the vinyl mastering. So you can see that here. Most of the sources for these vinyl masterings are, it seems like, are digital tape. I could be wrong. With Symphony No. 8 and Symphony No. 10, which were recorded in the 70s, have analog tape sources, but the rest of them from the 80s have a digital master source. And you can see that full list here. This is from the engineering notes of Rainer Maillard at Emil Berliner Studios. Apart from the 8th and the 10th symphonies, all the other recordings were digital. And here there are two fundamentally different procedures. First is the old 2-track recording, which involves placing numerous microphones, which the balance engineer then mixes together at the mixing desk on a stereo output, to which a tape machine or later a 2-track digital recorder is connected. For the latter recordings in the cycle, however, there was also multi-track technology where almost every microphone had a separate digital track. And the recording was made on a 24-track digital machine. The mixing was not done live in the control room during the recording, but could be worked on later. At that time, everyone involved in the mixing had come up in the analog era. The technical parameters of the stylus played an important role, and that naturally has an impact on our approach in 2022. First of all, there is the question of the sources. What do we actually have available? Deutsche Grammophon has an enormous tape archive, but naturally not everything is there anymore. At a certain point, Hans Weber's musical work was released, and that was that. That is, the tapes of the takes, all the recording material was officially destroyed after a couple of years. We only archive the original, quote. But in the digital age, what does original actually mean? It was easier with analog. You came away from a recording with maybe 20 tapes, and from that, an original was edited or stuck together. With digital technology, it's true that we talk about the edited original, but copying is much more lossless now. With the 2-track version, the edited tape is used as the original for production. But the edited digital multi-track tape still has 24 tracks, so we had to mix a 2-track original again, which means the actual original is the multi-track tape. With Bernstein's Mahler recordings, we still have 2-track originals from Symphony 7 onwards, and multi-track originals of symphonies numbers 1 through 6. Fortunately, Deutsche Grammophon has archived both, and only in the case of the 4th Symphony and the 3rd and 4th movements of the 6th have originals apparently gone missing. In recording technology and archiving, Deutsche Grammophon was then way ahead of its time, so questions of sound, always very strongly tailored to the relevant target reproduction medium, can remain open for possible future releases. Naturally, where there is only a 2-track original or a 2-track mix, we can only work on the sound to a limited degree. But we can restore the recording, meaning that we eliminate interference like coughing or audible edits that simply had to be accepted at the time. And we can filter or fade a little, but all these interventions are minimal. It's a different case with the multi-track tapes where you can now remix them. We get a very much clearer signal that can design the sound with greater differentiation. We can now apply restoration or filtering specifically to individual tracks. If, for example, a horn microphone accidentally went a bit haywire and the sound was too muffled, I can now raise the levels a little bit for this one horn alone, and it sounds right again. For a vinyl re-release, I also have to have it in the back of my head how I'm going to achieve the maximum impact on a vinyl disc. So it looks like they preserved the original artwork and the original liner notes for all of these. Here's Symphony number 1 with the Concertgebouw. I always recommend, I think in general people should probably start with Mahler's First Symphony if they've never listened to any Mahler. It was the first Mahler symphony that I ever played. It's definitely one of the more approachable and easy to digest. It's not my favorite, but I think for a first published symphony, it's a remarkable work. Symphony number 2, this is one of the best Bernstein recordings and best Mahler recordings of all time. Symphony number 2 with the New York Philharmonic. This has Barbara Hendricks and Christa Ludwig as soloists, and the Westminster Choir. If you've never seen a live performance of Mahler's Second Symphony, it's one of the most jubilant experiences you'll ever see. I've been lucky to play it once. I was supposed to play it an extra 2 times during the COVID pandemic, but of course that didn't happen. Mahler Symphony number 3, which I've never been able to perform. This is also with the New York Philharmonic. And Christa Ludwig as soloist. This is the Mahler Symphony number 4 with the Concertgebouw. And this is the one where they use the Helmut Wittek, the boy soprano, instead of the traditional female soprano in the last 2 movements. Probably Mahler's most calm and beautiful symphony, simple, probably his least bombastic orchestral work. Not that bombast is bad. And here is the other big monumental recording in this box set, which is Symphony number 5, the Vienna Philharmonic. one of the all-time best recordings of this piece. Really, if there's any two recordings in this that are the standouts of this cycle, it's this Symphony Number 2 and Symphony Number 5. Symphony Number 6 with the Vienna Philharmonic. Number 7, on this one I actually do prefer the original New York, earlier Columbia New York Philharmonic recording. However, this one is no slouch either. I think Symphony Number 7 is definitely my favorite Mahler symphony that I've ever performed. There's a few I haven't played. I haven't played Number 3. I haven't played Number 8. And I haven't played Number 5. But of the other ones, the ones that I have played, I think Number 7 is the most underrated. And here is, so this one was not part of the original Deutsche Grammophon cycle. This is taken from an earlier live recording. Mahler's Symphony Number 8, the Symphony of 1,000, with some of the most demanding personnel requirements of any orchestral work ever. This, of course, has Margaret Price and Agnes Baltza, I believe is how you say her name, and Hermann Prey. Again, this was an earlier live recording. Bernstein intended to record this the way all these others were recorded, and he just didn't get around to it. Unfortunately, he passed away in 1990 and did not get to the 8th Symphony. And here we have the combination double LP of Symphony Numbers 9 and the unfinished 10th Symphony that Mahler never completed in his lifetime. With the Symphony Number 9s with the Concertgebouw and the sketches of Symphony Number 10 with the Vienna Philharmonic. Let's see here. So all in all, excellent reproduction of the jackets. The information about about all the recording processes and the original recording notes is really cool. It seems like Deutsche Grammophon and Emil Berliner really care about being transparent about the sourcing on this. So I'm excited to listen to these, because a lot of these original LPs, you know, these were not released in large numbers. The CDs sold a lot, but the LPs were released as kind of a limited thing, not in big numbers. And the original LPs of this collection, of this cycle, some of them go for hundreds of dollars now. So it's nice to have this in print again, even if it is a limited edition box set. And I would hope Deutsche Grammophon would keep the individual releases of this cycle in print. I'm not sure that that's going to happen, but for now, we have this, and there will be a written review of this box set coming very soon on The Tracking Angle.